Welcome, my name is Andreas Patikis and I'm the founder of the Grey Cotswolds, where we offer unique courses and retreats around stress and well-being, anger management, parenting and sports performance for a healthier mind and body. Our venues are set in the beautiful and relaxing Cotswolds countryside with luxurious private dining and facilities. Our specialist team have vast knowledge and experience with beneficial therapies and advice, all in one place, to help with any challenges and empower you for life. Discover a new way of living through our podcasts and prepare to enter a world that is not black and white. Let us accept the colours in between. Welcome to the Grey Cotswolds. Hi everyone, today I'm joined by Simon and we've got an interesting podcast for you today. Listen to your DNA.
That's right.
And that's not something we hear about, that phrase, too often, so I'm really interested to hear about this. So tell us who you are and what you do.
So my name's Simon Bradley. I'm the CEO of Percent-Sdge and we specialise in nutrigenetics.
Okay, nutrigenetics. Not a familiar phrase that probably a lot of listeners won't be aware of. Tell us more.
Well, firstly, it's a great conversation starter because if you go into a room and people ask what you do, I used to be a computer scientist, and if I told people I was in IT, they would immediately think, oh, my drink needs a refill, and they go and wander off somewhere else. If I tell them I'm into nutrigenetics, at least I get oh, that sounds really interesting. What is it? So it's basically understanding your DNA, understanding the spelling mistakes in your DNA, and understanding how those affect your lifestyle and what you can do to mitigate your spelling mistakes.
Okay, so that's sounds pretty far out there stuff, but I suppose we're at a day and age where science has moved on. We know more about DNA, and that sounds like, you know, it can bring many benefits to people's lives. What will you bring to the Grey Cotswolds for us?
So we can bring four main things. We can tell people whether they have a genetic predisposition to serious health conditions like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, whether you're going to have a problem with your eyes later on in life. We can tell you those things. We can also tell you how you process the environment around you, how you deal with the chemicals that come from candles, deodorants, barbecued food. We can tell you how good you are at sport, what sport you should be doing to keep fit, what sport your body prefers and what it's naturally good at. And lastly, we can tell you how your body actually processes over 1,000 day-to-day foods and what vitamins and minerals it gets from each one.
Okay, straight away, in my mind, personally, there was many ticks going off. Barbecued food, I'm Greek, we do plenty of that. Sport, I'm into my sport and never thought my DNA really would make a difference into the type of sport that I play. So I can see, so how would you help people with that?
So let's take sport, for example. You're into your sport. What you may not know is that there are 3 genetic markers that are responsible for the muscle types that you were born with. There are 4 genetic markers which control how your body built their tendons. So if your body has certain spelling mistakes, and when I say spelling mistakes, so everybody is made up of genes. Everyone knows that. What people don't know is that gene expressions are made up of only 4 letters, A, C, G and T, and that doesn't mean that you can have G and T. It tells you that any combination multiple times in a pattern makes up what's called a gene, and you have about 60,000 of these in your body. You have about 2,000 spelling mistakes, so some of those letters that should be in a certain order are in a different order for you, and your spelling mistakes are different to mine. Science has shown that if you have certain spelling mistakes, you are more likely to have a predisposition to blue eyes, or being able to throw things further, or suffering from tendon damage if you sprint. So we can tell you, based upon your DNA, whether you should be taking more time cooling down after sport because you are more likely to suffer an injury than a normal person.
That's really interesting. So from someone like myself who's not a professional sportsman of any type, that's still interesting information because I didn't know it, and it might change my routine in the gym, for instance. But I presume it also goes up to amateur and professional as well.
It does. We have professional sports people, and what you'll actually not be too surprised to know probably is most professional Premiership football players have had their DNA analysed by the team's own nutritional teams, and so they know which foods provide them with the optimal balance of vitamins and minerals. We provide a complete profile from 7 days all the way through to an hour before competing in events, so that you know exactly which combination of vitamins and minerals work for your DNA. The days of everyone going into a kitchen before the match and all eating carbohydrates and loading up on pasta and all eating the same dinner are completely gone. And now that is available to everyone. So you can wake up in the morning and you can eat an apple every day, but you may get no vitamins or minerals from that apple because your genes can't process it. So you could swap to apricots, which would be really good for you, and then all of a sudden you're getting more energy. So it's about just making small lifestyle adjustments to make your engine as efficient as possible. It's a bit like, your DNA is a bit like giving you the code to know what type of fuel to put in your car.
Well, that's amazing in itself. I wake up, have my porridge, and I put blueberries in because I know the benefits of blueberries. But like you're saying, I may not be absorbing them.
Yeah, you might one day swap to blackberries because your DNA is telling you get so much more, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I've got so much more energy now because my body is crying out for certain vitamins and minerals in order to provide it the fuel it needs.
So a nutritionist is important, and we have one on the Grey, and that nutritionist is going to give their advice, but this actually delves deeper, delves into the DNA aspect, and gives you a full report on this.
Yes, it's over 200 pages, and it's personalised to you, so it's unique to you. Everybody's DNA is different, and the great thing about DNA is it's the same from the day you were born until your last day on this planet. DNA is written in permanent ink. There's nothing you can do to change it. So you take the report once and it's with you. It provides value for the rest of your life. So if you have your DNA tested, for example, at hospitals these days, a lot of children are having their DNA tested if they have hereditary conditions that the hospital is worried about. The results of that report can help them 30 years later when they're trying to work out what the best nutrition is to eat to fall pregnant, for example.
Yeah. And clients who are going to be coming on to the Grey's retreats here, we're going to be giving them a 21-day package as part of the package of being here. Tell us more about that.
So there is something in us all called the microbiome. And now a lot of people have started to hear about it on TV. It's becoming very fashionable. Gut-friendly foods, gut-healthy foods. You are 10% human. The other 90% of you is made up of fungus, bacteria, bones, calcium, or minerals. But the actual bit that makes you human is actually only 10%. It's the 90% which makes up your microbiome. And there are two major microbiomes in the system. Your biggest one is in your gut, and the second biggest one is all over your skin. So the microbiome is not just what you eat, it's also the environment around you. So you can pick up heavy metals, pesticides, as I said, smoke from candles. What we do is we rebalance your gut microbiome, which means that your hormones level goes back to normal. A lot of people find that they lose the poisonous endotoxins from their body, which is what your body defends itself against by producing fat cells. So a lot of the clients that we have lose toxic fat. So they lose weight, but they lose it in a way that they don't then yo-yo diet back again. Because a lot of people that need to lose weight, what they do is they starve themselves. The fat cells dissipate and your weight goes down, but the toxins in your body that your fat cells were protecting your body from, like a little shield, they're still there. When you rebalance your gut microbiome, you do what's called a cellular level detox. So not just the fat cells disappear, but the toxins disappear. So that when you finish the program, your body doesn't recreate the fat cells to try and protect itself from the toxins, because it's also flushed out the toxins. That's why cellular level detoxes work so well.
Yeah, that does make sense. That does make sense. So within this 21 program, we'll be supporting them through that. What will we be giving them?
So we'll be giving them 5 products that they take over a 21-day period. It also involves a high phytonutrient, low carbohydrate diet. It's a food plan rather than a diet, so there's lots to eat. You're not in any way
We're not
hungry.
gonna be starving people.
No, not at all. And you eat normal meals, so there's no that you can have proteins, so you can have chicken, beef, you can have oils, you can have spices, so there's plenty of flavoring. But because it's low carb, obviously no bread, no pasta, no rice, things like that are out, no potatoes. But you can have butternut squash, for example, which makes a great replacement for potatoes. We give everyone an email a day with everything they need to do that day, also with some light exercise guidelines, with some educational advice on just how to look after yourself better, how to look at, for example, food packaging labeling and what to do. So we take them, and we provide them with a complete one-to-one support if they need it. So it's a real hands-on, fully supported program.
Yeah, and that's what's really appealing, because it is very much supported.
Yes.
And then from there, I suppose there's the option really to do this DNA testing to give you this full report as a top-up. And I suppose when people are thinking about releasing their DNA, should we say, into the outer world, there might be concerns there. So what can we tell them about that?
Yes, so we've partnered with a medical genetic testing facility. It's the most successful one in Europe. So that means that they treat the data at the same highest level as a medical standard. So it's not a commercial laboratory, which might be anonymizing your data and sharing it with other companies, as some of the other DNA companies do. Your DNA is anonymized with a code, so there's no link between who you are and the DNA. And once the DNA has been tested and they've proved that it's good enough to get the results from, they physically destroy the sample with chemicals into a bin the moment it's done. Okay. So your DNA is not stored anywhere, and it's also not stored against your name or address. So even if they broke into the computer servers, they wouldn't know this person's result is this person's name. Yeah. And it's also, right at the last stage, hand reviewed by a trained scientist who goes through all of the results to make sure that the process has been done and that all of the markers are relevant.
Yeah. And we could talk forever regarding the results and what that report will offer you in life. We don't have time for it today, but it's there's a whole load of life-changing information in there, which, as you say, it's not a fluctuating result. It's one that you keep for life, because it's your DNA. That's not going to change. Couple of quick questions before we finish today, Simon. What's your favourite way to relax?
Actually, cooking. I've spent most of my working life away from home, living in hotels. I walked away from that a couple of years ago, and now the way I like to relax is to close the kitchen door, open a book, pick some stuff out of it, and spend an hour. My family joke, because I'll take a 20-minute cookbook and they'll say, well, that'll be ready in an hour and a half. and it is, but it just relaxes me.
Yeah, it can be therapeutic, cooking. And I suppose what could someone do today to improve their well-being or life? Any advice for anyone out there?
What I would say is, if you had to do 2 things,
I'll give you 2. Go on.
2 things. 30 minutes of gentle exercise every day makes a massive difference, because your body is a machine, and your body works better when it's in movement. So if you're too sedentary, your body, things get stuck. So it's a simple thing. Just make sure you keep moving. And the second one I would say is, be aware of the packaging of the things that you're eating. If there's more than 5 ingredients on the box, it's a processed food. So it may look healthy on the outside, the picture may look wonderful, but bear in mind they'll have spent hours getting that photo right and changing the colours and stuff like that. So just look for the least processed food as possible and pick things that look like what they are in the wild.
Very good advice, and I'll be looking at packaging more. And these days, that's pretty hard to come by something with less than 5 ingredients. But yeah, all good advice. Well, look, Simon, it's been very interesting. Obviously, something that until I came across it, I hadn't heard about, and hopefully, it's given a lot of food for thought for our listeners around their DNA and what that could mean in change and benefit to their lives. It's been a pleasure. So thank you for sharing your time and knowledge today, Simon.
Thank you. It's been excellent. I've really enjoyed it.
So until next time, this is Andreas Patikis signing out, your fellow traveller on life's journey. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any thoughts, feelings or reflections on today's podcast, please leave them on the comments section on our website or social media channels. You can find more episodes and information at www.thegreycotswolds.co.uk. This is Andreas Patikis, your fellow traveller on life's journey, signing off.